how to buy a property in the Northern Virginia market. And if you guys have any questions throughout this, just drop them in the comment section below. We'll answer some questions as well. So let's get started. I got Sean Glennon here, top lender in the Northern Virginia area. So let's start with how to start the approval process, how to start buying a house.
Well, first thing you're going to want to do is align yourself with a balded yet bearded lending and realtor team. You know,
I think that's the new look.
Bald and beard.
Yeah,
that's beautiful these days.
Yeah.
You know, we're taking it back. Bald got a bad rap for a while, but we're
making
taking
a
it
comeback
back by the horns.
Well, and the beard too. My buddy showed me his team, and there was like 6 or 7 guys that looked the bald look with the beard. They were like different, you know, colors and height, weight, whatever. But everyone had the bald and beard look.
Well, you gotta. We're lacking hair in a certain region, so you gotta add a little.
You gotta make up for it
in some others. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Somewhere on the head, you gotta have a little bit.
Yeah.
But as cliche as it sounds, there really isn't anything that you should be doing besides maybe some light window shopping online before you've gotten a full pre-approval with a lender. You can't start it early enough. I mean, that's one of the biggest things to understand about this is, I'd say the number one objection I get is, well, I'm not quite ready yet, so I'm gonna hold off on doing that. Why? You're gonna find out so much to at least give you a clear picture of what you can or can't do, and that's important to understand as well, what you can't do and what, and the nice thing about getting ahead of it is if there is a hurdle in our way, if there is something that's stopping you from getting approved for what you're looking for, we have time to put together a plan to get you there, okay? If you wait until the last second, if you wait until you've found the house that you want to make an offer on, and then those problems present themselves, we don't have any time to rectify them. So understanding your capabilities as far in advance as possible is really only going to benefit you. It's going to give you, again, a clear and focused picture of what your capabilities are, how to budget for them, you know, understanding the out-of-pocket expense, the monthly payment expectations, things like that. And it's just going to give you a sense of security that when you really do jump into this process, you are eyes wide open of what to expect and knowing what you're not only qualified for, but what you're comfortable with, right? We have to we want to cross-pollinate those two things. What you can do with what allows you to sleep well at night and aligns with your family's budgetary goals. So as far out in advance as you can do that, it's only going to benefit you, and it's also going to put you in a position that you don't go out with someone like Jeff, find the perfect house, and then go out and find out that the financing that you thought was aligned with that particular property may not be. So you don't want any surprises, long story short. You want to, confidence is really the key word in this entire process. And so understanding everything up front, knowing what your options are, what doors are open to you, which ones aren't, or how to navigate it to get you in the position you want. There's no way that you can do that too early. Yeah, I think is the main takeaway.
Yeah, and I've worked with buyers in the past, you know, when I was early on in the real estate industry, you know, a few years ago, and they would find $1 million house. It was their dream house, but they weren't properly qualified. And then I'm like, all right, let's make an offer. Like, get your approval, send me your approval letter, and then it wouldn't, like, it'd be from 9 months ago. They weren't really like fully approved, and then they had to kind of go back through the process because they weren't ready. And then also, like you said, it's just a good idea to get a pre-approval. You're not obligated to buy anything, so you might realize that, oh, hey, I got some serious credit issues, or if I just make an extra X amount, you know, per year, I can afford $1 million house, my dream house. So it's a good idea to get that done, get it done early. There's no obligation to purchase a property, but it's a good starting point to know where you're at. Can I afford $100,000, $1 million, $5 million, you know, whatever it might be.
And you can get some pleasant or unpleasant surprises that you may not have known existed, but both of them are equally as important to find out. The unpleasant one are, hey, the fact that you just became self-employed may be an issue in getting you qualified. The fact that you just started a job that's heavily commissioned or bonused. talking about how long you need to be at those jobs can be a major thing. You mentioned credit issues. You may have credit issues that you're not even aware of. Sometimes these things, collections, unpaid parking ticket, as crazy as those sound, can sneak up on you. But also, I've had almost as many people, those conversations are never the ones that you want to have, but I've had a lot of people where their expectations were too high.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, really? Yeah. I can buy a house with only that much down?
Right.
I can get qualified for this? I thought there's no way I'd be able to get qualified for more than $400,000. You're telling me I can get qualified for $700,000. So it's not just we don't want to paint this picture that, talk to a lender so you can potentially find out all these issues or hurdles that you're going to run into. Sometimes it opens doors wide open that you didn't know existed.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people think you have to put down 20%,
that type of rhetoric,
25%, but there's plenty of loans. FHA, I did an FHA loan. You can put down 3.5%. I think you can. Obviously VA loans are 0% down, and then some. I think you can ask the seller to pay for closing cost credits. Yeah. So theoretically, you could be almost $0 out of pocket. When you're purchasing a property. So there's options from 3.5%, 0% if you're a qualified veteran. 5, 10, you can put down 20. I think I had someone recently put down like 80%.
Good for them.
Yeah, nice chunk of change right there.
No, there's a lot more options out there. I think 20%. Although, yeah, there is kind of this rhetoric with reason that 20% down is kind of the gold standard.
Yeah, no PMI.
The gold standard being the key phrase there. Yes, it's ideal because you do avoid something called mortgage insurance, but by no means is it a requirement.
Yeah.
Only if you're buying an investment property, then putting 20% down actually is a requirement. But if you're buying a primary residence, you're going to have 0% down options, especially if you're a first-time home buyer or veteran, as Jeff said. You're going to have 3 to 5% down options in other cases. There's a lot out there that people can get in for a lot less, I think, than they anticipated a lot of times.
And obviously it's good to see your, okay, what would my monthly payment be at 3.5% with PMI, low down payment versus like, what's my monthly payment, 25% down, conventional, owner occupied type of property. And yeah, with investment properties, obviously the lenders want a larger down payment because it's a riskier type of loan. Nobody, you're not going to be living there, so they have to increase the standards a little bit. I'm just curious how many people are on the live stream right now. That doesn't tell me, but if you're on the live stream, comment below, drop a question. We're going to start doing some more live streams, maybe every week. We'll see what happens. Next up, I guess, minimum credit score. So I know recently there's been a lot of talk about lowering the credit score. Even like you can get a credit score like a 600 credit score, 580, I think, with FHA. It depends on the lender too, though, right?
There's certain, it's program related as well. So when I say program, there's a lot of different mortgage programs out there. You've probably heard terms like conventional loan, which are backed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Got our first comment. Okay.
All right, let's go.
Okay, sorry. You said Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac?
Well, it's just important to understand it's not one size fits all. There's a lot of different mortgage programs out there, and obviously one of the things that makes those mortgage programs differentiate from each other is the underwriting of them, right? Yeah. What goes into them, what minimum credit scores they have, minimum down payments, minimum debt ratios. There's all kinds of things that are not, it's not one size fits all. Different programs certainly have different parameters to them. So it's tough to sit here and say point blank, this is the credit score you need to be approved, because it's going to be dependent on where are we trying to navigate. But certainly credit has lightened up a little lately, and actually probably a more trending topic is that FICO scores are getting some competition right now. There's a new score. If you guys have any interest, I highly encourage you just to Google Vantage Score. It's a new, basically, if you think about it, FICO, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax have had a monopoly on the business lately. And honestly, the pulling credit reports and things like that have gone up a lot in price, and there's really nowhere to check them. And there's been a lot of criticism as well the model being outdated.
Yeah.
I think that it's fair, the criticism. A couple of the critiques are, one, that doing something, missing like a payment.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you forgot to pay your credit card bill. You could have a 5-year perfect history of that, but one late payment, it just crushes your score temporarily. You can build it back, and after 6 or 12 months, you'd probably be fine again. But it's so intensely focused on what just happened instead of taking like a 10,000 foot view.
Like
of
a
your credit
minor
situation.
utility bill, and otherwise you're perfect. You miss a $20 electric bill, and
An
then all of a sudden-
unpaid. And yeah, it's one of those things
crazy,
where I, don't yell at me. But now Vantage Score is not only going to be a competition, but it's going to be a new model in terms of how they score credit. And it should help people for 2 reasons. Number one, what I just talked about, the recency bias will not be as strong. It will take a macro bias much more. Yeah. And what it'll also do is it's going to encapsulate things like rent, things like utility
I've seen
bills.
that rent can go towards your credit score now, yeah.
Utility bills.
Yeah.
So things that previously hadn't been counted, right now credit scores are simply money that you borrowed that you're paying back, right? Yeah. Student loans, an auto loan, mortgages, credit cards, stuff like that. Money you've actually borrowed from a third-party entity and you're paying them back.
Right.
Rent isn't that. You haven't borrowed any money. Utility bills, you didn't borrow money from the electric company and paying them back. But there still are bills that are, monthly, show your monthly ability to repay what is owed. And that's going to help people, especially like younger kids who haven't had credit cards and cars and mortgage payments yet, who haven't really built up any sort of credit history. It allows utilization of that to come right out of the gates when you're ready to kind of enter the quote unquote real world and build credit that way. Or let's say you did make that mistake and you did miss that credit card payment, or you did miss that one auto payment 1 month. It's not so intensely focused on that because it's taken into account a lot of other things.
Yeah.
I know that we got a little off topic there. I know the topic was minimum credit scores, but it is interesting that the model could be changing.
Yeah, no, that's crazy that I didn't realize credit scores, the cost has gone up so much. There's always a lot of fees in the real estate, buying a house. Your lender will be able to provide you, ahead of time, like the estimated fees. It's not always going to be 100%. Apparently credit reports are now hundreds of dollars. I remember it used to be like 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks.
I think when I first got into business, they were like 30 bucks for a credit report.
But it's always obviously a good idea, even if you're 6, 12 months, 24 months away from purchasing a property, to build your credit score, save as much cash as possible. I mean, that's a good idea just in general, but you really want to build like a solid foundation, because lenders can get creative and make a lot of things work. Even if you're kind of tight financially, sometimes they can have creative strategies.
Sure.
But it's much easier for everybody involved if it's not like super stressful and having to we've had I remember some deals where it's like, okay, if you pay off your car loan a week before closing, then we can get you the loan. And then if you also pay off your credit card bill and this and that and get $20K from your parents, then you can make it happen. But you want to build up your credit score as much as possible, save as much cash as possible. And also the lenders want to see consistency with a job. So I remember I had somebody that was like, I'm thinking of quitting my job. And I was like, well, at least wait until after closing. If you quit your job or change jobs, during the closing process, when you're under contract, that's going to throw everything off, because the lenders check. They'll call your company and see if you're still working there.
We're going to verify employment right before closing.
Yeah.
Right.
So not a week before closing, but like right before.
Could be days before closing. It's just check in and make sure that you're still gainfully employed there, because yes, you provided us W-2s and pay stubs, but it doesn't mean that your situation hasn't changed in the last few weeks or month or whatever the timeline is from when you get under contract to when you go to closing. So the two things to understand is you have to be gainfully employed by the same employer during closing, or if it's going to be a new employer,
And I think we had some questions. I'm going to try to figure out how to read the questions. And I saw somebody left a question, said, can you help me out? And then it went away. But yes, we can definitely help you out. But sorry.
So anyway, I'll wrap this up. If you're going to be changing jobs during the transaction or during the process of looking for a home, and you want to make sure that it doesn't negatively impact your ability to be approved for the loan, a similar industry job, and when I say similar industry, it's a pretty broad sense. It doesn't like you have to be doing the exact same thing that you were. But like I said, going from a completely new industry, like jumping into real estate and you were not previously in that at all, it's going to require that you're on the job for a certain period of time. Those can be 6 months, 12 months, it can be up to 2 years if you're self-employed, if you're starting a business, something like that. But the other thing to keep in mind, let's say you are switching jobs and you are going to a very similar industry, so it should be something that is easy to justify. We can only go with the guaranteed income. Okay, so let's say that you're currently making $100,000 and you're getting a new job offer that's $80,000 base, but you have the potential to make a lot more than that in bonus or commission or something like that. At least at that moment in time, we can only use the 80. Yeah. Okay, so we can only, on a new job when there's variable potential in it, we can only use those guaranteed. So as long, if you're going to switch jobs during this not necessarily during the transaction, but just during the process of searching for a home, and you're wondering how could this potentially change or throw a curveball into my qualifications, just understand that as long as it's in the same industry, you're okay. And as long as you understand we can only use the guaranteed income, everything else should be fine. And
if you're commission based, it would be 2 years, right? For no matter what type of commission, what type of car sales, real estate sales, whatever it is.
Yeah, using variable income, like my job is 100% commission. Your job, you're a 1099 employee. Those are going to require a 2-year history. Yeah. So if you became a real estate agent tomorrow, 1099, you would actually need 2 years on the job before you'd be able to qualify for a mortgage. So again, we're beating a dead horse here, but can't stress enough, figuring this out as far in advance as possible, as possible, is just, there's no negatives to it. And there's only positives, like finding stuff like this out so you can redefine your timeline.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, we have, what do we have on our list of next up? I'm going to see if I can answer these questions, if I can, coming from another state, coming from another state, how do you help people narrow down which area to start looking for in homes? Open to anywhere in Virginia. As far as looking for homes from another state, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, like online research, reading about different, like when I go to a new neighborhood, there's not many neighborhoods to me in the DC area that are new, but when I go to a new neighborhood, I try to become a neighborhood expert just before even looking at a house. Like for example, if it's some like weird neighborhood in DC, I will read every article about that neighborhood. I'll drive the neighborhood. I'll go to like a coffee shop or restaurant there. And then within like a couple hours, maybe I'll get there early, drive around a little bit. You could even rent an Airbnb. You can kind of test out different areas, and really reading about them, going there in person. That's really some things you can do to kind of decide on which areas. And even Reddit's pretty good. Reddit's pretty accurate with a lot of info as well.
That's why you want to work with someone like Jeff. Man, is it important to understand yes, Northern Virginia is one big area, but man, the difference is neighborhood to neighborhood, county to county. school district to school district, they make huge differences in what you can expect to kind of be in for, and how it's going to change your approach to the entire process. So having someone like Jeff who's going to do that research for you ahead of time is invaluable.
Well, yeah, and it's almost, I went on vacation this summer to Colombia, right, for like a week. And I made a list of the different places I could potentially want to go. There was like 5 different potential like cities, countries. And so I made a list. I was like, okay, how far away is it from like the DC area? So is it going to be like a 4-hour trip, or is it going to be like a 10-hour flight? And then, what's the cost? Is it going to cost me thousands of dollars, or the walkthrough is very helpful. Oh, you want to see more of I can do more of the Jamaica style houses. I just did a house on Jamaica Drive that was like, it wasn't like a $3 million house. It was more like just a nice 4-bedroom house near Old Town. I'll do one more like that. But basically, I made a list and I had it out on like an Excel sheet by like cost, distance, how much I actually like the area, just based on like research and like my own, I guess biases and things like that. And then after looking at all the data and comparing like 5 or 6 different places, I was like, I'm definitely going to Colombia. I think like Portugal was on the list, but Portugal was like a 10-hour flight, and then it would cost like triple. And then there were some other countries, and then I was like, well, I want to go here. It's not too far away. It has, good restaurants, whatever. And so that's kind of how I made my decision. But I had it all mapped out on an Excel spreadsheet and everything.
How was it? Give me the highlights, man.
Highlights. So I stayed in Cartagena, and that's very touristy.
Uh-huh.
It's very cool because it's like a historic town right on the water. So there's all these rooftop restaurants. Because you're like the gringo and clearly a tourist, like someone's trying to sell you something every block, someone's trying to sell you something. So
you got a bullseye on your back.
Yeah, but I mean, it was cool. It's so scenic. The weather was great. The people were really nice. The food was incredible. It wasn't too expensive. It's not. I probably wouldn't stay in Cartagena for like a week, but like 2 or 3 days is like perfect. You could do some day trips, walk around, see the old city, that kind of thing. I might just start a Colombia or travel channel after this. After that actually would be kind of cool. But what were we talking about? Oh yeah, we had a caller ask about, or someone ask about best places from an out-of-state person to choose in Virginia. So yeah, research, go there. That's pretty much what I would say. Look at the costs, browse houses online. What else do we have on our list of topics?
Biggest mistakes.
Okay, biggest mistakes. Well, I'll start that one. Biggest mistakes you can buy when you're buying a house in Northern Virginia or DC area or anywhere is you get your pre-approval letter and you're super excited. I remember this was the biggest mistake I ever made as a first-time home buyer, or as a home buyer in general. I got my approval letter. I was so excited. I just bought like one of the first properties I saw. So if I had seen like 5 or 10 properties, I could have made a much better decision. But I just bought I was like, oh wow, this is so cool. I can buy a house, and I just jumped right in. And whereas if I had compared it to like 5, 6, 7, 10 other homes, I would have made a much better decision, I think. And that was in 2010.
Where did you buy?
I bought a studio condo, which didn't appreciate at all. And I could have bought so many other things. I bought the cheapest property in Arlington County, I think, at the time, just because I was making not a whole lot of money, but I was able to afford basically the cheapest condo in Arlington. But I could have bought a 2 or 3 bedroom in Falls Church, which would have been an incredible rental property now and probably would have tripled in value. Whereas the studio condo went up $5,000, $10,000, even in the worst market. Buying it, I was like, oh, I'm so smart. I'm gonna buy in the worst market ever. But
I mean, I get it though.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, that's why you need an agent guiding you and saying, hey, let's slow our engines down here a little bit. We want to make sure you're making the right decision, not this decision, your first impression. So, but I get it. You get that piece of paper in your hand. You're so excited to kind of do something you've envisioned. It's kind of the American dream, right? Owning real estate, and so.
But at the same time too,
honest mistake.
Honest mistake. But at the same time too, it's if you're doing your research before and you're pre-approved before and you're browsing houses before, maybe you go to some open houses. Sometimes it is the first house that you really look at with your agent that might be an incredible house. I just had a client where, we basically just saw 1 or 2 houses, and this checked all the boxes. He had done his research. He knew the market. We looked at the comps. We made a strong offer. And so sometimes it is the first property, but he was very like savvy in the process and everything like that. So
oh yeah, it's
it
case
made
by
sense.
case.
Yeah,
It's case by
yeah.
case, especially. You know, it just goes. I know that we're going to sound like broken records, but double, triple down. That working with someone like Jeff, who's, you know, our role is advisory, really, right?
Just checking the comments here. It's weird that, let's see, super chat. No
So you can't pull them all up at once.
I'm trying to. Last question. Okay, is this time of year a bad time to buy? Are sellers holding out until spring?
Double-edged sword question, but I'll let you run with that.
Is this a bad time of year to buy? I would say like any time of year it can be a good time to buy. I mean, right now we have more inventory than last year. Prices are still pretty high, but we've been getting some, you know, I'd say sellers at this time of year are definitely more motivated. So it doesn't always mean you're just going to get some 20% discount or something like that, but at least in the start of the new year, you know, there's a lot more activity, a lot more excitement. You know, maybe rates will go down a little bit more. So I guess the main thing, you don't want to settle for a property just because you're getting like a little bit of a discount. You want to find something you're excited about and then make a strong offer. So if you have your eye on something and it's been sitting on the market for a little bit, I'd say definitely like go for it. Sellers could be more negotiable right now. But the main thing is you don't want to settle for any type of property.
There's no perfect time, right? There's just periods of the year where inventory is low, but also demand is low, right?
Yeah.
This time of year, people are getting ready for the holidays. People
Yeah.
are cold. You know, middle of the school year, there's not going to be as much buyer demand
Yeah.
out there. You wait till the spring, yeah, you'll probably have more options, but you're going to have more competition. So it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's pick your poison.
Yeah, I would say probably the best deals that I've seen my clients get that I've gotten have been like in the wintertime months, but I've also seen good deals, and you can get good deals in any market.
You can catch a desperate seller. You know,
Yeah.
they didn't think, or things didn't go the way they thought they would go in the fall.
Yeah.
They want to get their home sold and everything before the holidays, so
Yeah.
they're just more willing to
Yeah.
take an offer that they may not have set their sights on at first.
Yeah, exactly. Just get rid of it before the new year starts. Start the new year clean and everything like that. I'm gonna check some more comments here. I think this is how we do it. Nope. That is not how we do it. We got some smiley face emojis. Okay. Get some weird comments coming in. Your last video is helpful. Yeah, I think coming from another state. You're open to anywhere in Virginia with less than an hour commute to DC. So you're looking at basically like maybe Woodbridge at the furthest. Hour commute to DC. I mean, that's still a pretty good
95 is
commute.
always tricky.
Yeah. Can we talk assumable loans?
Sure. Yeah.
Assumable loans.
Evil word in my
Yeah.
in my opinion. No, I'm just kidding. Assumable loan means that you're going to be taking on the sellers, or whoever you're purchasing the home from,
Right.
the existing homeowner, the loan that they have. Now, I joke because that kind of cuts me out of the process if you're taking someone else's loan.
The lenders don't like to do it because they don't make a lot. They don't make anything off it, really.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's about you.
Yeah.
Now, what you need to understand is that there's only certain situations where loans can be assumed. This is
Right.
not a blanket statement. Otherwise, the entire world would be, with where rates are right now versus
Yeah.
where they have been 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, everybody would be looking to assume loans. And honestly, the idea, you know, current event that portable loan was floated recently by the current administration as something that. So let me back up. A portable loan is a little bit different than an assumable loan. Assumable loan, you're assuming from the seller. So whoever you're purchasing the home from, if I'm buying Jeff's house and he has a 3% mortgage, if his loan was assumable, which again, I can't stress enough, most loans are not. But if his loan was assumable, of course, me buying this house, that'd be something I'd be very interested in.
Yeah.
Now, the two main things that you have to consider when assuming a loan is number one, well, is it assumable? Like VA loans, military, veteran loans, those are assumable, okay? And especially veteran to veteran, not only are they assumable, but I can, as the veteran purchasing their home, utilize my own VA eligibility to replenish his, so he can walk away not only having given me the loan, but having his VA eligibility restored. Now, if him as a veteran gives it to me, a civilian who doesn't have VA eligibility, that's a decision that he has to make.
Yeah.
Because now he's forfeiting that eligibility. He can't use that moving forward. So it's a decision he's probably going to make based on, hey, do I think I can get maybe a premium on my house, get a better deal selling my house because I'm giving this loan, or maybe I'm in a position where I don't need the VA loan down the road. So it's a decision for that individual. But again, it is truly a circumstance where unless the person you're purchasing from has an assumable loan, which most don't, because conventional loans aren't assumable, and that's the most common type of loan. So it's going to be a rare circumstance. For the most part, it's going to be those VA veteran military loans that are assumable. Now, we can dive into a current event topic that many of you might have seen floated on social media or in the news headlines. Right now, the current administration is floating two ideas to get home affordability down. Jeff, I'd love to hear your thoughts on both of them. Have a little back and forth fun with this. The first one, called a portable loan. So where I'm going to differentiate that from assumable. Assumable is I'm taking the current homeowner, the seller's loan. Portable loan, I'm taking my own loan with me. All right, so I live in 123 Main Street. I've got a $500,000 loan at a 3% interest rate, and I want to buy 567 Main Street, and I want to take that loan with me. It's called a portable loan. Now, you could probably put two and two together that people like myself have absolutely no interest in this becoming a thing, because man, that cuts me out of doing homeowner John Doe's mortgage if they're just going to be taking their current one with them. So I don't think it'll happen for that very reason, that it would destroy the mortgage banking industry.
The whole banking industry, I feel
the
like
banking industry would revolt against this. It wouldn't be
I don't know how that would work.
And there's more gaps than you think. You have to find the in-between financing. You're taking that $500,000 with you, but what if you need $800,000? Now you have to fill in that gap, and it can get more complicated. So I'm going to, if we have the green or red button here, I'm going to hit the red button. That not only do I think that, personally, selfishly, I don't want it to happen. I don't see it as a real possibility. But I'd love to get your take on the 50-year mortgage, because that seems to actually have, the portable loan I really don't think even has legs. I think it was just an idea thrown at the wall. The 50-year mortgage, I have an opinion on, but I do actually think that is something that is truly being considered. What are your thoughts on a 50-year mortgage?
Well, with both of them, with the portable, I mean, I think it's good that we're trying out new ideas. Who knows if these will actually happen? It's hard to say. The portable sounds great. The 50-year, I like, because it hasn't happened yet, I haven't like really done hours and hours of research, but I think in other countries they actually have 50-year mortgages, and I think it's actually a popular thing, because they're like, what is there a huge difference between a 30 and a 50-year? Because I think it used to only be 15-year, and then a 30-year mortgage came around. Everyone's like, that's the dumbest idea ever, and then now it's like a pretty common thing. So to me, I mean, it's more options for people. I mean, it sounds like it'd just be a ton of interest, and I think most people hold on to their mortgage for like 7 years. So no one is actually going to like see out the life of a 50-year loan. So I mean, if it can improve affordability and give people more options, and it's popular in other countries, I forget which country, but an agent was mentioning that, then I mean, I think we could try it out, see what happens. I mean, I don't see any issues with it. I mean, it does sound like, just from a high level though, you're like, wow, you're paying so much interest, you're not making any dent in the principal. But I like the idea of having more options, maybe lower monthly payments. And if it has a proven track record of working somewhere else, and why not give it a shot?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because there is one thing everyone needs to understand, that even if the 50-year mortgage does get the green light, it's going to take a lot of time before it's actually implemented.
Right,
they have to create security instruments for it. There has to be all kinds of regulations, and and we all know that those. We're not the greatest. Our government's not the greatest about getting those done quickly. They always take time. But beyond the pale of just that, it's going to take time to put in all of the surrounding regulatory language and creating the security instrument for it. If you want to just look at it through the eyes of the effectiveness of the instrument for a potential homeowner, I think it's kind of like two things can be true at the same time. Number one, I completely understand that home affordability is a hot topic right now, right? Especially for the younger generation. Affording a home is different, a taller task than it used to be. And anything that can lower a monthly payment, of course, is going to be something that's going to be celebrated by many. But if you're looking at the long-term consequence of that, yes, short-term, you have now put yourself in a position where you can purchase a home, and it could be $300, $400, $500, $600 a month less than it would have been if you were doing a 30-year mortgage, and that can be the difference for a lot of people in saying, this is a payment I can afford, this is a payment I'm comfortable with, or this is one I can't reach for. Now, long-term, that's where the effects have to really be considered, and we have to really take a step back and determine, is this smart for the average American? Because if you look at the numbers, now, as you mentioned, not everyone holds their mortgage for 30 or 50 years. But if you do extrapolate the numbers of how much interest you pay over 30 years versus 50, it's like 2.5 times more. So instead of paying $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 in interest over 30 years, you could be paying $1.5 to $2 million in interest for the 50-year. So is it short term? Yes, it's helping you, but long term, it's not helping you become more wealthy. That's for sure. It's putting you really as a slave to debt, for almost the rest of your life as a term. And the other part is, one of the pillars of home ownership is the equity that you build in the home. Now, a lot of that comes from appreciation, and that wouldn't change. But also a lot of it comes from, over time, you really start to chip away at that principal of the loan, and that gap widens in the equity that you build. And that would be something that would take 10, 20 plus years before you really started seeing that equity build from that principal reduction. So it puts homeowners in a place where, yes, they get short-term relief, but it's at the cost of long-term wealth building. Yeah,
and when you buy a house, the title company will give you the loan payoff schedule. So it'll be like, 10 pages of, 12 months of a mortgage times 30 years. And, you put that on your calendar, you put that on your refrigerator. But yeah, with a 50-year, that would be a whole binder of mortgage payments and everything like that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. It seems like it's gotten a lot of, I'd say probably negative feedback in the real estate industry.
For sure.
But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I think there's more bad than good.
Yeah.
Although I see the good, I think the bad outweighs the good, and that's where if I were pulling the strings, as much as I can see that it helps a few people get in the door for a little cheaper, I think it comes at a much greater cost.
Definitely a high cost. Would a realtor be willing to help me find a cash buyer who isn't a scammer? Yeah. Where it depends.
I'll let you take that one, Jeff.
It depends where your property is, but yeah, there's a lot of wholesalers that will say, yeah, we're all cash. They tie up the property, and then they try to sell. Like, let's say they tie it up for $100,000, and they'll try to sell that contract to another investor for like $110,000, $120,000. So they're not the ones that actually have the $100,000 cash. And they always have clauses that allow them to like back out of contracts and things like that. So yeah, shoot, if your property's in this area or even nationwide, I can probably connect you with someone that's not a wholesaler, someone that would actually purchase your property directly and not waste your time and buy it as is. I meant to say one more thing about the assumable loans. I wrote down. So yeah, I don't like. It's one of those things that sounds incredible. Like, oh, we just assumed your loan. They have a 2.5% interest rate. I see it advertised because I'll show houses where it's like assumable loan 2.5%, 3.5%. Just take over their payments. But then it'll be like the difference between the loan amount and then the sales price is going to be drastically different. So they might have a loan of like $490,000 that they have to pay off. That's at a 2.75% interest rate. But then, the house is for sale for like $750,000. So the buyer will have to bring whatever $300K to the table, and then also go through the assumable loan process, which might take like 90 days, and maybe they get an offer that's not assumable and it just closes in like 3 weeks. So the seller probably wants to go with that offer rather than waiting 90 days to go through, the assumable loan process. I would say I don't want to, like, as an investor myself and as someone that likes a good deal, there are definitely opportunities with assumable loans, but it is definitely like the minority, like the 1% of properties out there where it kind of like makes sense for everybody. But you do see it, yeah, with I see a lot of VA assumable properties that sometimes have potential. But you do have to keep in mind that
they're out there.
Yeah,
they're out there.
The veteran might not want to sell it to a non-veteran because then they lose their eligibility. So it would have to be a veteran to veteran. But sometimes the person just wants to get out of the property, and sometimes a non-veteran can assume a VA loan. So that can be a good option. Let me see what other questions we have here. Hi, I'm from Egypt. How's it going? I need to see the pyramids someday. Last question. All right, I think that's all our questions that we have for today. Let me know what you guys thought about this format. Maybe we'll do some more live stream formats, Q&As. As always, if you're looking to buy or sell in the Northern Virginia, DC area, reach out to my team and I below. If you need to get a pre-approval, talk to Sean. I'll have his contact information as well. And last question, Sean, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
Well, I'll give myself credit that even though it's, I think, the betting favorite right now, I've been saying for over a month that the Los Angeles Rams are the best team in football.
With Matt Stafford? Is he still he's still the quarterback, right?
Yeah, he's the odds-on MVP right now.
Okay.
Sean McVay is the best offensive mind in football.
Yeah.
Puka and Devontae are making matchups a problem. You can't really double either. And then their defense is really good, man. That's a sneaky part. And then they might be here for a while. 2 first-round picks.
Okay.
Top 5 in most cap space. Rams
really?
Might, especially with
have
Stafford probably only having a couple good years left in them. I think they're going to push all their chips in.
Wow, yeah. And if you didn't know, Sean is a Virginia Tech football legend, quarterback, so he's got some good analysis. He might start a channel, analyzing football teams and whatnot as well.
Hey, Virginia Tech, we're back, baby.
Virginia Tech, he's a big Virginia Tech guy.
We're back.
So I'm a Syracuse fan. We got throttled the other day by Notre Dame, 70-7. But we had our third-string quarterback in. It was rough.
What's it set? I knew that they won by a lot. I didn't know it was 70-7. Holy cow.
Yeah, but half our team is injured, so.
It's tough right now. College football's tough. But we just hired a new coach, James Franklin. We're getting back on track.
Yeah,
we're getting back on track.
You guys will be good, yeah. All right, cool. Well, we'll see you on the next one. See ya. Turn this off. I can figure out how.